Welcome back to the podcast. We've travelled over here to Romania and Bucharest into the head office of FintechOS. Delighted to be joined by Darren and Manny from the Vernon Building Society, who decided to jump on a plane to come visit us. We could have easily done it in the UK, but it's great for you to come over to Romania to experience the culture and come to the office and join us the next couple of days. Delighted to have you here. Did make a quip, it was cheaper to come here than to London.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should probably talk about that later on.
Is,
but, just to do the official instructions, Darren, the CEO of the Vernon, and Manny,
CIO.
First podcast.
First podcast, yeah.
Very excited, as you can tell, to join us today.
This is a bait and switch, this is.
But look, just to set the context for today, so FintechOS is doing a lot of work with the building societies in the UK. Delighted to be working with you guys as well. The sector's got an incredibly proud history, and you guys have been around. It's just 105 years.
102.
102 years,
102 years
within the industry. And let's talk about some of the pressures that building sites in the UK are facing right now. And you're facing right into them. And so you decided to make some changes to the brand, which is great. So why don't you just give us a high level of the health of the sector right now, Darren?
Yeah, I guess so. Obviously, last year the sector celebrated 250 years. You rightly pointed out the Vernon's, I guess, one of the new boys of that,
yes.
Just over 100 years old.
Yeah.
So I think that the sector's in a position where there's some really fantastic opportunities for the future. Our business model has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
And that really for us, it's about capitalizing on that and making sure that we're around for the next 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
But as you rightly say, there are some challenges for us as we face into the amount of investment required to modernize our business models and also to ensure that we remain financially sustainable for the future.
Yeah, I guess it's staying relevant for the future, and I guess that's why you've come over to the Vernon to start that journey. And there's been a massive amount of consolidation in builds. Let's say 42, 41?
42 left,
42 left. Even the fact we just said 42 left does show that there's been some victims, I guess, of the new ways of interacting with brokers and members and customers. And I guess some have fallen away and some have strived. I mean, we were talking earlier on today about you opening up 6 potentially new branches.
So we're looking to. So we've got 6 branches at the moment, we're looking to open 1 branch each year over the next decade as we look to expand.
Yeah, so you're definitely in that thrive motion.
Yeah.
Why do you think some have fallen away and some like yourselves have been able to thrive?
Yeah, I think it comes down to a lot of different choices. I think that our business model, or one of the fundamentals of our business model, is being able to take a longer term view, making sure that we place member value at the heart. And I think that as soon as people start to stray away from that, looking for short term gains or, maybe taking their eye off the ball in terms of that member value, I think that's when people can, face some difficulties.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting you say member value because a lot of the experience and expectations that your members and your customers, and when I say customers, or extended customers for brokers, that experience and that expectation has risen. I guess with the introduction of neobanks and other digital players, and that's where I guess the whole society and the industry has to pivot to cater for those new expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a couple of dynamics to that, isn't there? There's using other financial services, digital offering. Mm-hmm. That's one aspect of it.
Yeah.
And then there's everyday life, using the likes of Apple, Google, Amazon.
Yeah.
That's another aspect of it. Another key aspect of it is people, isn't it? When you look at the younger generation growing up now, their brains are wired differently to what ours were when we were younger. And we have to modernize as a society to be relevant to their needs in the future. And the society, the sector's got a long history of being able to reinvent itself to make sure that it's still modern with that core purpose at heart.
Yeah. So reinventing ourselves. digital transformation.
Yeah.
You've decided, hey, as an Exco team, as a board, as an organisation, you've gone, it's time to do it. Why?
Yeah, I think the big thing is that modernisation piece. We've got ambitions to grow the business. One of the challenges that the sector is facing is sustainability in terms of scale. We're facing into increasing cost base, whether that be regulatory, whether that be investment in digital, whether that be maintaining branch face-to-face services. So it's important that we're able to grow the business sustainably over the long term. And to do that, you've got to invest in modernising the business to make sure you're relevant for the future. So that's the key bit, really, is making sure that we're relevant for future members, delivering on our purpose.
Yeah. So, Manny, whole bunch of investment. This is your moment. Your moment in the sun. A whole bunch of investment. Board's gone, budget's approved. We're going to do this big transformation. And from a technical and an organisational perspective, a lot of that's going to fall on you and your area to deliver. So how do you kind of approach that in the way you're working with the Vernon?
Well, it's a balancing act. So we've got to become omni-channel, essentially. So all of our members need to be able to interact with us in whichever way they best choose. Unlike, say, the high street banks who are forcing digitisation to close branches.
Which has happened a lot in banks. Like the branches just disappearing. You guys are opening up new ones.
Yeah. And then you need to get something which actually forms a very flexible core, which actually can then integrate into other third parties, as FintechOS does. You can take away all of the organisational pain points of manual paper over here or credit check over there. So one then feeds the other. So if you actually get to a point where you can use the technology to actually take away the busy work, that then allows the organisation to release resources to do more value-add things that you want a human on. So the USP of the sector really is manual underwriting. So if it's an edge case, banks can't do it, we can.
Absolutely.
So more people to focus on that enables the organisational growth. And at the same time, I can focus on actually the technology becoming more resilient, more flexible, and more interoperable with other things. So holistically, we just have to chunk it up, essentially. As we were just discussing earlier. So first drop of value gives you 80%. Chunk it even smaller. You can actually focus your testing resource on standard residential, then move on to buy-to-let. So it makes it manageable. So, break down the elephant.
But it's interesting you said, because not once have you said, we can do digital transformation because we can, cut down our workforce by 20%. What you actually said was, we're going to help make them way more efficient and refocus on areas that really add value. And I think sometimes the elephant in the room. People think, digital transformation, bring in AI, or whatever it is. It means we can, reduce our cost by X and increase efficiency margins by Y. It's not about that. And you said at the start, it's a human business.
It's a human-based business, and I think, it's about investment to widen the jaws. It's not about cutting cost. If anything, like say our costs at the beginning go up because we're making that leap in the investment. But then it's about growing your revenue faster than it is your cost base. It's about, as we just talked about there, in terms of us growing our business, we're not looking to cut any headcount. We're looking to grow the business and add to our headcount over the years. But what we're going to do is we're going to add to headcount to where value is best created for us as a business. And there's also an opportunity for us to be able to reskill existing people into those value-add roles, and frankly, that are more motivating. I think there's probably nothing more frustrating when it comes through on our employee opinion survey of having poor technology, manual processes. The guys want to get on with doing the stuff they're paid to do in terms of making value-add decisions. That's what they don't want to be doing is moving data around different systems. They don't want to be manually producing mortgage offers.
It's the boring part of the job. It's just something can be done. It's the mundane, I'd call it, the mundane piece. And actually what it means is that they can get into the nuts and bolts of, let's say, that more complex lending you're talking about, the way your USP is manual underwriting. Whereas the edge case is the stuff that the common high street lenders just don't want to play with because it's non-standard.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is USP.
Yeah, so we're not looking for something that can be very high volume because you look in the marketplace, there's loads of vendors. Well, I mean, you could do it if you wanted to, but go straight from app to offer in 2 minutes because AI probably isn't going to fit because we will not get enough volume in those sorts of cases to then justify the investment upfront in the AI cost.
Of course, yeah.
Whereas here we can target it to where it is actually most valuable and most relevant, which is the automation of the processes behind it.
Yeah.
And then our underwriters actually still have that human oversight.
Yeah. It was one of the big strategic decisions we made up front, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We talked a lot as an executive team about digitalization, and really looking at, it in its simplest form, starting at 0 being manual and 10 being fully automated, like Manny said, in terms of, straight through, doesn't touch the sides, big 6 territory. And we made the decision that, actually we probably wanted to be a 5 or a 6 on that scale. And we talk about kind of that positive friction in the journey and that positive friction having to be value add.
Yeah, I agree. So we talked about kind of your internal stakeholders, and I guess one of the things you've also got to concentrate on now is the external view. So you're going to go through this digital transformation. It's going to be a period of unrest. It's going to be a period of managing both your members' experience, but also your broker experience, and it's tough. How are you going to start to manage that? I guess the communication between those around this is who we are today, this is who we're going to be, this is our transition period. Can bear with us, work with us, but this is what you're going to get at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think to some extent, Mark, that's already started. We go out and get a lot of insight and feedback from members and brokers. And ultimately, the feedback that we get from brokers, as an example, would be that, we really like your people. We really like the flexibility of your lending criteria and proposition, competitive products. We really don't like dealing with you because you're not easy to do business with.
Yeah.
And so we've already got that as a kind of start for 10.
Yeah.
And it's about, using that and then saying, look, we recognise that, and what we're looking to do is to invest in significantly enhancing that. So I think it's already started that communication in terms of acknowledging the feedback, going back and then talking to them about the vision of where we would like to take things in the future. Yeah, they are, yeah. I'd say obviously you've got different stakeholder groups. I think, brokers, yes, excited. It's good because from our perspective, we can move them being from transactional to more relationship-based, where we can turn the kind of one transaction in terms of application into, 5 to 10 applications. So that's how we can kind of organically grow the business. But obviously, naturally, you've got different people in this chain as well. So colleagues, that's obviously the society's been operating a certain way for a long period of time. We've got a lot of tenured staff, don't we, Vernon and Manny, and things have always been done a certain way. And we're pretty keen to promote the fact that this is about us being able to adopt new technology, adopt a new way of thinking, new processes, rather than trying to bend what we do today into technology to get the same outcomes.
That's a really good point.
It's a dangerous phrase in the English language. It's always been done this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and it kind of goes to that point around, you've gone through this process of going into the market, looking at several different players in the market. You've gone through quite a rigorous RFP process supported by Woodhurst, who sat in not in these very chairs, but be on the podcast as well. How did you find that process? What were you looking for? What made you ultimately select a FintechOS to help you in this journey?
I think the first thing we really did was we took a step back and really took the opportunity to understand what we wanted.
I think we needed that because we've been driven by the vendor's roadmap for quite a while.
Yeah.
So it was, our internal roadmap was more reactive than would be ideal.
Yeah.
So we needed to get a clean starting point, which was actually, from a business perspective, what is it that we actually want if you completely ignore what is happening before?
Yeah.
And that drove then the RFP process with Woodhurst from the ground up, which wasn't a position that we'd been in before. And I think the outcome of that led to decisions on either full stack or modular.
Yeah.
We've ended up with hybrid because you can choose the best bits of whoever for the right bits, mortgage origination, savings origination, core platform, obviously very high benchmark to move your core platform.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Then we settled on, based on the scoring, FintechOS for the mortgage origination, because it gives that all-round flexibility. You can go best in breed for mortgage origination, which obviously is what drives a business. And that then will allow us to flex it as we grow. More integrations, more automations, more usage of AI. However, taken over our corporate plan lifetime.
Yeah.
I think it was really important through that journey as well. Obviously, you mentioned there about working with the likes of Woodhurst. It was really important for us to bring an external view inside, because as we've just said there, we've got a lot of people who are sort of tenured at the Vernon.
Absolutely, yeah. They only know what they know.
Yeah, exactly. So, being able to know what good looks like was really important for us when we set those requirements to say, what is it we want to achieve. And like say, taking right back to the beginning, that digitalization, we had lots of different examples, didn't we, at the strategy day where we were talking about our experiences of digital, not necessarily within financial services. So we were talking about things like, if you go to the airport and you now have to kind of check your own bagging yourself and not actually go to the person. And I was saying, I as a person who's really good with technology, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm coming to go on holiday. I like the personal service. I like to know that my bags are looked after and they're going to turn up. Yeah. Don't quite trust myself with those self-service machines.
Those sticky things are hard. Yeah. So they got around the handle.
Yeah,
exactly. It's down to your touch points on complexity, isn't it? I mean, it's fine if it all flows through, but then if something in the process at any point goes wrong, you want to be able to talk to a person.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times you can't do that when you've fully automated it. And I'll take the High Street Bank again as an example. Something's gone wrong on your app. You're ringing whoever on hold for however long. It doesn't have the same escalation levels.
Yeah. And it's the same in the retail environment. I was talking about going and buying the kids some school uniform. I could have gone online and done it really easy. But I didn't. I went into store because I needed to check the sizes. I wanted to make sure it was the right colours, the right stuff. And then I got to the end and, they said to me, sorry, we can't serve you here. You've got to use the self-serve. And then you're trying to get the clothes unhooked off the security tags. And I thought, I might as well have just done this online. But I didn't come for that experience as a customer. I came into store for the personal experience. So we were talking, weren't we, about kind of how our business model relates to that and saying, look, what we need to do is make sure we don't go too far with our business model to the point where you get a customer comes in and goes, you know what, probably this isn't for me anymore.
So we can't lose what we've got now. But equally, it's probably fair to say that on the digital side, that needs to catch up with where the human side actually is so that people can make that choice for themselves.
What are some of the things you looked for in some of the vendors that kind of went, you're the ones that we're going to talk to?
Partnership. So I don't want to be buying something that's one size fits all. It's just kind of, this is what you've got. So we need to be able to work with the vendor to actually customize it to how we want things to work and for the products to have that availability as well. Functionality, open API type stuff. So integrations with whoever we want to choose so we can do best of breed in everything. Cost obviously plays a factor.
Always plays a factor.
Operational resilience. So, PRA requirements, that's always stepping up. So cybersecurity kind of is a subset of operational resilience as well, of course. And then, all of the business requirements that were in that RFP process, satisfying the vast majority of them with what does come out of the box. So that you got your 80% is your standard build, 20% is the customization.
Yeah. Because
you equally don't want to start developing from scratch on everything, because then we're waiting 10 years for anything.
Yeah. So I guess the exam question, Darren, is why FintechOS then?
Yeah, no.
So that sounds slightly self-gratifying, this question.
Yeah.
Here we are sitting in the FintechOS office.
You've got the sunniest location, yeah.
A little bit self-gratifying.
Yeah, feel a bit under pressure now.
Yeah.
No, I think...
Turn the light up immediately.
I think from our perspective, I think the big thing is when we met with yourselves, it was an understanding of our RFP requirements. That was really clear. And then I think that from the presentation, the modern software, that was going to be a good balance for us in terms of, being able to leverage our proposition. So, you not sitting there and saying, look, AI is the way forward. Why don't you change your business model? Actually showing how your technology can deliver for us as a business and really achieve the value that we're looking for. And then I think to Manny's point around partnerships, so we're a people-based business.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that whether that be relationships with our members, whether it be relationships with brokers, whether that be relationships with our third-party suppliers, we feel that that is one of the most important things culturally to understand each other.
Yeah.
The technology, like you said, is modern, flexible for us to be able to. I think that one of the big things I looked at is when we looked at the vendor list is who would be able to transform what we've got today, but who did I see had value for the future? So this was a long-term investment where we're looking and thinking, well, would they be the right partner for us in 5 years as we develop our business model and capability? Could they continue to push us and drive value for us as a business?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the product terms, going back to the demos, genuinely, and I'm not saying this just because we're sat in your office.
The door is still locked.
Yeah, fair enough. You actually did hold my attention the whole way through, because it looked like you'd reimagined the problem. So it wasn't your legacy solution lifted into Azure and called cloud first and all of that, which can happen.
Yeah.
The end-to-end journey looked like it had been thought out for the modern age, which isn't always the case.
Yeah, and that's great. And that's good feedback. It's always a strange question to ask, and we can unlock the door now. So
we're free to go.
You're free to go. Take your stuff and go. No, look, that's honestly, thank you for the feedback. It's always something. Let's be honest. There's always bumps on the road. So nothing's ever perfect, and. Any kind of digital transformation, we've all lived through them. There's always ups and downs, and we always appreciate you coming and do this for us, coming to visit us and helping us educate us as well around the product and the platform, and helping be a part of our roadmap of what kind of features and future-proofing for the sector. That education to us is priceless. So it's definitely a reciprocal thing. Just put it there. So look, let's push ourselves into the future. So let's assume you're now fully live on the platform, right? We've grown our hair back. Yeah. We're back on it. What's going to be different for your member experience, for your broker experience? What's going to change?
I think for us it's about kind of benefits realization. So I think that member and broker experience. So we've got to be easy to do business with. In its simplest terms, we've got to be easy to do business with. That's what's going to change.
Yeah.
And for us, that's the big factor that will enable us to be able to grow for the future. And whether it be the broker or the member, that applies to both.
And I guess from an organisation perspective, I know we've been talking about it a little bit today, you can do more.
Definitely. So we can do more without a huge increase in headcount.
Yeah.
Because after we've gone live, you've taken away a lot of the sort of heavy lifting that just wastes time. Because if it can be automated, then do. I think the increase in UX essentially for brokers and direct advisors, ultimately potentially the customer themselves, will allow channel distribution to rebalance. And so from there, with something that's scalable like this is, you don't necessarily know where the roadmap will end. Hypothetically, if we ever decide that we want to do direct non-advised, the potential is there.
Opens up new channels, I guess, for you. And I guess one of the beauties of the platform is, we've talked about it before, is the agility to bespoke and create new product line product features and be at the tip end of the market and do it really quickly. So actually we talked about opening new branches. Here's potentially new markets, new products.
Yeah, new products. And I think the other important factor in that is colleague as well, colleague experience. We talk a lot about kind of the value add at the front end for broker and member, but actually our employee engagement, motivation, ambition for the future. Because I think that's an important thing, isn't it? Internally, an investment into the FintechOS and being, they're being heard. Our colleagues are being heard. They can see we're doing something about it, and we're going to create a better working environment for them in the future.
A podcast wouldn't be a podcast if I didn't mention those two letters, AI. Right? We couldn't possibly publish anything if we didn't mention AI. So look, we kind of tiptoed around a little bit. So have you got any early views of how you could start to adopt elements of AI, either within the technology platform or even from an experiencer perspective? What's your early view of how the Vernon could start to adapt to the use of AI?
That's a tricky question, isn't it?
It is.
It's go on, man.
The technologist wants in. Come on.
Yeah, go on, man.
Well, it depends on how you use it, doesn't it? So, AI is getting thrown around massively as a marketing term. Some of what that describes is stuff that's been happening for years.
Absolutely.
So, when you look at what would do day one, day two with the FintechOS platform, you could equally describe that as AI or automation. So, a lot of that will come naturally when you get into sort of the true AI stuff. Then, with the LLMs, then chatbot type functionality, all that web scraping. I think it's going to be a very fine balancing act, because obviously we don't ever want to lose the human touch. So anything that would sort of indicate that we're going in the direction of forcing people to just deal with AIs would not go well. If you target it, a lot of it, in the back end can be hugely useful. So I think in terms of integrations, heavy lifting, reducing the manual workloads, potentially in the future talking to the broker's own native systems. So brokers don't want to be rekeying anything. That should be made a lot easier with AI technologies now, compared to having to write bespoke APIs per broker platform and that kind of stuff. So there's huge potential, obviously within guardrails, and all of the press around Mythos is still going strong. So everything that would potentially be publicly exposed obviously needs to be extremely well tested. But the overall direction of travel, it's either going to be the next industrial revolution or the apocalypse. Nobody knows which yet, is it?
It depends which favour you're read.
Exactly, it depends on who.
I think you're right. Only anybody who's going to adopt any form of AI needs to build the foundation. That's correct for it. And that talks about having expertise, knowledge, having the right governance and policies that sit around it, understanding the actual use cases, specific use cases that for, rather than this overarching AI strategy. No, I've got a pain point there, which your one is great. Actually going into different broker portals, that's a whole bunch of developed work for APIs. Is there a way that you can use AI that means every single broker, they're in their own internal bespoke system, can interact with us rather than that development work. That's a use case.
Yeah, and it should be a use case. And AI is a tool in your toolkit.
Yeah.
Whereas previously it might not have been, rather than AI first, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And when we're seeing like dotted around kind of our use cases in the world of people, so we've talked about a few of them, but I think that it's, as you say, it's a balancing act that doesn't go against your principles, your core principles of the Vernon. But actually, we talked about it before, just in digitalisation. You say it's the next evolution of digitalisation. It's nothing new. It's just but how are you going to use AI to enable your internal colleagues, your third-party brokers, and your members to have a better experience without taking away the human touch?
Yeah, it's that value add, isn't it? I think, certainly from my perspective, I sit there and think, well, there's some incredibly exciting opportunity in front of us.
Yeah.
And there's some equally scary challenges to face into as well.
Yeah.
And I guess, burying your head in the sand as a business is not the way forward. We need to really understand, what is going to be the value add to us as a business. How do we want to go about doing that without losing, that personal touch? But, there's clearly some parts of the mortgage process, using the data, and it's going to enhance for the future, definitely.
So we're getting to a point to wrap up. So well done, by the way, first time. And I guess that you've gone through. We're not fully through the journey. I guess we're actually really at the start of the journey. But even the process and the journey you've gone through so far, you've been quite forward thinking in the way you've gone about. You've selected your vendors. You've gone back to your roots. You've decided the way you wanted to change things, but keep some guiding principles and the core principles of the business. What would I guess, Darren, to come to you first? What would be your advice to folks similar to you that are in a space you were a year ago that have gone, you know what, we really do need to do something, but we just don't know where to start, or we don't know how to frame this? What would be your advice to your CEOs within your field that are about to start this journey?
I think the big thing is, for me, the starting point, stepping back and trying to really understand what you're looking for as an outcome. As a business. What are you looking for? What are your requirements? Because there is a lot of technology out there, and to Manny's point that he mentioned earlier, being vendor-led isn't necessarily right for your business. So I think you've got to be strong enough to understand what it is you need, and then go and seek the right partner to deliver that. I think is really important. I think, the reality of setting yourselves up to win. You can very easily get into a position where you are over optimistic, either on cost, on time scale, resources required to deliver. I think it's really important you're honest with yourself, and you're honest with your board, you're honest with your business about what it's going to take to get there. And mostly honest with your colleagues. We've talked a lot internally, haven't we, about what the vision is for the society in the future, but equally, saying to people, we want you to be a part of this, but
bring them along.
You know what? This is going to be hard work. This is going to be hard work for everyone. We're not in a position where we can just stop the business and just concentrate on doing digital transformation. We've got to still run the business and continue to deliver value and change alongside this.
Bring your people along the journey. Make sure it's resourced properly, have a true and reflection of what you want and how you're going to deliver it. And obviously you guys engage with us to help you along that journey as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to give final word to you. A similar question, but maybe from a technology edge. What advice would you give to your fellow techie folk within the building society sector?
Don't underestimate it. So, once you've taken that step back and you've looked at your entire estate and where it's potentially headed, you need to actually break it down into what are manageable chunks and also the dependencies. So that could kill you if you actually get things potentially in the wrong order, or there's a dependency that you've missed. All of that needs to be mapped out right up front. external support if you can to help you actually build that picture is brilliant. And then I think don't have people trying to do it off the side of their desks.
Yeah. I think that modular piece for me was key. What you said earlier on as well. To make that decision of full stack versus modular, and actually picking best in breed.
Yeah, definitely.
Is fundamental. You survived.
Excellent.
You did a great job. Manny, Darren, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate your views, your insights. Apologies for the rather, self-gratifying question. I had to throw it in there, given we were in the premises. Thanks for being honest about it. Appreciate everything you're doing with us. And I think we all are incredibly excited, and we look forward to what the future's going to hold between FintechOS and the Vernon. Hopefully we can be the guiding light for other people to follow and keep modernising the industry as customer and member expectations continue to evolve. So thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.